just the kind of inefficient language that people can get lost in, saying things that can be said a lot simpler. Again, there's all kinds of writing styles. William Faulkner wrote very long sentences. Ernest Hemingway wrote very short sentences. But you don't need, you don't need to say I utilize the multi-time tool to process a starch resource. Now that's just something he made up as a joke, saying which would translate as I used my fork to eat a potato. The one on the bottom is an actually appeared in some manual. Sometimes people think better writing equals using bigger words and longer sentences, and they tend to hide behind that. There's a certain fear in writing of the short, naked sentence. Wow, this sentence only has 8 words, and none of them are really big words. It doesn't matter, If it says what you want to say and it says it clearly, concisely, succinctly, it's good, okay? So you want to avoid that tendency to hide behind too many words and too long of a sentence whenever possible. But how do you avoid confusion? How do you achieve clarity? Write more than one draft, okay? Very few of us get it right the first time. We don't write that efficiently the first time. At some point, you really have to be clear what you want to say. Sometimes you can sit down and say, okay, this is my objective in this piece. This is what I want to say. I'm going to marshal my arguments, blah, blah, blah. And other times, you kind of discover that as you write, right? And then you rewrite. But before you say, okay, this is what I'm publishing, you want to have a really clear idea of what is really your important message, what's the focus of it, what is your angle on the story, so you don't just meander. Because if you don't really know exactly what it is you want to say, what's the important thing, it's very difficult to come up with a structure for it, right? You don't know what to emphasize. Again, have a sense of your intended audience. Who are you saying this to? Who are you writing for? If you're writing about China, are you writing for Chinese people? Are you writing for foreigners? Are you going to try to write for both? Have that in mind, and then you can phrase things in certain ways. The best thing, the best tool for any of this is what in the theater is called an outside eye, and that just means an actor make a movie, right? Produce a play. Actors work with directors. Why? Well, because it's hard for them not only just to coordinate things, but it's hard for them to see what they're doing and understand it while they're doing it, right? A writer, good writers, best-selling writers, they're very smart. They look for the best editors out there to work with, right? They don't do it like this ego trip. Oh, I'm the greatest writer. I don't need an editor. I don't need any help. No, good writers want to work with good editors. Good actors want to work with good directors because it makes them look good. And because it's an outside eye that will say, okay, this is what I'm hearing. Because again, the two models, right? I mean, the model of the transmitter and the receiver. You're trying to put this out, but are they really getting it? So you need somebody, and it can be you're not going to hire a famous editor, but you can be your friend to read this and not just say, oh yeah, I like that. I mean, sometimes I find with students, maybe there's a little bit of over-politeness about criticizing the other person's work, right? Like it's some kind of personal thing, but it's more like what you want to be able to say is have them read something and ask what they got out of it, or not just did you like it, but did you understand this? Did it communicate that? You as the writer need to really ask them specific questions so they can help you, okay? And make sure they really understood it, or try more than one person. If they didn't understand it, it's your job to do it better.